Did you know that your brain might be working against you? Every time you check your phone, grab a sugary snack, or binge watch your favorite show, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical that makes you feel good. But here's the catch. Over time, this constant dopamine overload can make you feel, well, kind of empty. Studies show that people today are getting dopamine hits up to 10,000 times a day. That's 10,000 chances to burn out your brain's reward system. Now, imagine being trapped in a cycle where nothing ever feels quite satisfying enough. That's what happens when your dopamine levels are constantly spiking and crashing. And here's the real shocker, this overstimulation is linked to everything from anxiety and depression to addiction and burnout. But what if you could break free from this cycle and reset your brain? What if you could feel more motivated, focused, and at peace, without the need for constant distractions? In this video, you'll discover how resetting your dopamine can unlock a happier, healthier life. From simple daily habits to mindset shifts, we'll explore proven strategies to restore balance to your brain's reward system. Ready to take control? Let's dive in. Your brain will thank you. Chapter 1, the dopamine roller coaster. Are you riding or stuck in the loop? Have you ever noticed how easy it is to get caught up in the endless cycle of scrolling through your phone, eating junk food, or binge watching Netflix? Well, this isn't just your brain being lazy, it's your dopamine at work. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that plays a huge role in how we experience pleasure and motivation. But in today's world, we're constantly triggering those quick dopamine hits. Every time you check your phone, you get a little reward. This leads to what many experts call the dopamine roller coaster. Here's the problem: when dopamine is constantly spiking, it can create a cycle of highs and lows. You may feel a burst of happiness when you get a notification, but then quickly feel empty once it fades. Over time, your brain starts craving more of those instant rewards, making it harder to feel satisfied. As Dr. Anna Lemke writes in her book Dopamine Nation, in a world of endless options, we are all at risk of becoming dopamine addicts. And the worst part? It affects your overall well-being. It's not just your phone or social media apps that are to blame. Overeating, shopping, gambling, or even excessive video gaming all lead to similar dopamine spikes. According to research from the National Institute on Drug Abuse, the same brain pathways that get triggered by drugs like cocaine are also activated by things like sugar or smartphones. This constant overstimulation can lead to burnout and even depression. Now, think about it. When was the last time you felt truly calm or focused without being distracted by something? The good news is, you can take control. Recognizing this cycle is the first step. Next, you need to reset your brain, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Chapter 2, Dopamine Detox, Breaking Free from the Instant Gratification Trap. The first strategy to reset your dopamine is a simple but powerful concept: the dopamine detox. In a world that rewards instant gratification, a detox might sound strange. But it's an effective way to hit the reset button. Essentially, you're reducing your exposure to things that trigger dopamine spikes. This could mean cutting out social media for a few days, reducing screen time, or avoiding processed foods that hit your brain with quick rewards. One powerful aspect of this detox is that it helps you rediscover the beauty of delayed gratification. The idea is that when you take a break from these immediate rewards, your brain begins to rewire itself. You become more capable of enjoying longer-term pleasures that require effort, like reading a book or going for a walk. Research shows that people who engage in delayed gratification tend to have better life outcomes in terms of health, finances, and overall happiness. Start small. Try a digital detox weekend where you avoid your phone, TV, or computer for 48 hours. You might feel jittery at first, but as time goes on, you'll notice how much more present and engaged you become in the world around you. A study from the University of Pennsylvania found that people who limited their social media use to just 30 minutes a day reported a significant drop in depression and loneliness. It's not just about screens, though. Consider fasting from foods that give you quick dopamine highs, like sugary snacks and processed junk food. In fact, research from the Harvard School of Public Health found that highly processed foods trigger dopamine pathways, much like addictive drugs. By removing them from your diet, you give your brain the chance to reset and find pleasure in whole, nutritious foods again. Remember, the key here is not to avoid pleasure entirely, but to reset your threshold for it. If you want to experience true joy, you need to take a step back from the instant hits and allow your brain to recalibrate. Chapter 3, The Dopamine Diet, What to Eat and Avoid, for a balanced brain. Now that you've started to reduce the overstimulation in your life, It's time to focus on nourishing your brain with the right foods. What you eat plays a huge role in balancing your dopamine levels. A well-balanced diet can support the production of dopamine, while poor food choices can spike it uncontrollably. Certain nutrients are especially important for maintaining healthy dopamine levels. Tyrosine, an amino acid found in foods like eggs, chicken, and dairy, is crucial for dopamine production. Tyrosine is the building block of dopamine itself, so consuming foods rich in this nutrient can help maintain steady dopamine levels. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fish like salmon and sardines, also support healthy dopamine function. They help keep the brain's dopamine receptors functioning properly. According to a study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, people who eat more omega-3s are better able to maintain healthy mood levels and avoid the dopamine imbalances caused by stress or diet. Magnesium is another important mineral that helps balance dopamine levels. Found in foods like spinach, almonds, and avocados, magnesium can help calm your nervous system and reduce the stress that often leads to dopamine spikes. A study in the Journal of Neurochemistry found that magnesium deficiency can reduce dopamine receptor sensitivity, leading to problems with motivation and mood. On the flip side, it's important to avoid foods that can cause spikes in dopamine levels. Refined sugars, processed carbohydrates, and caffeine are known to cause quick surges in dopamine. These foods might make you feel good in the moment, but they often lead to crashes that leave you craving more. This vicious cycle only keeps your dopamine levels out of balance. If you're craving something sweet, try fruit instead of processed sugar. Fruit contains natural sugars, which are released more slowly into the bloodstream, providing a steady source of energy without the spikes and crashes. Incorporating a balanced diet, with plenty of whole foods and brain-boosting nutrients, will help you maintain a more stable mood and energy level. You'll start noticing a difference in how you feel, with more consistent energy and a sense of well-being. It's about finding the right balance and supporting your body with the best fuel possible. If you're finding these tips helpful, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Stay tuned for the next chapters where we dive deeper into resetting your dopamine and living a healthier, more balanced life. Chapter 4: Unlocking the Power of Pleasure. How small, simple joys boost dopamine. It's easy to assume that joy comes from big events or material things. But real, lasting pleasure often comes from the small moments, the things you don't need to chase, but simply experience. Simple activities, like taking a walk in nature, savoring a cup of tea, or listening to your favorite song, can boost dopamine levels in a more sustainable way. These pleasures don't come with the same crash as those instant hits from scrolling or eating sugar. Studies show that activities which involve mindfulness, like meditation, yoga, or even mindful eating, are especially powerful in resetting your dopamine. Dr. Rick Hanson, a neuropsychologist, talks about how the brain is hardwired to remember negative experiences more than positive ones. This is why it's so important to train your brain to savor the small, positive moments. According to his book Hardwiring Happiness, the more you focus on these simple joys, the easier it becomes for your brain to experience sustained happiness without needing a reward or a rush. The key to this strategy is to be present. Put your phone away, take a deep breath, and truly enjoy the little things. Research shows that people who engage in activities like slow walks, gardening, or cooking report feeling happier and more connected to life. In fact, a study from the University of California found that those who engage in activities like these have higher levels of serotonin and dopamine, contributing to better emotional health. The idea is simple: reset your brain's pleasure system by appreciating what you have right now. This is especially important in a world that pushes us to constantly seek bigger and better experiences. The more you practice enjoying life's small pleasures, the less likely you are to get caught in the dopamine trap of overstimulation. Remember, resetting your dopamine is not about removing joy, it's about shifting your focus to joy that lasts longer. When you start savoring those simple, everyday moments, you'll experience a more steady sense of happiness without the highs and crashes. Enjoying the journey to reset your dopamine? Don't forget to subscribe and stay updated for more game-changing tips. Chapter 5: Mind over Matter. Mastering your mindset to rewire your dopamine. Resetting your dopamine levels isn't just about changing what you do, it's also about changing how you think. Your mindset plays a huge role in regulating dopamine production. By training your brain to focus on positive, growth-oriented thoughts, you can rewire how you experience pleasure and motivation. One powerful way to shift your mindset is through cognitive reframing, which means changing how you interpret situations. Instead of seeing a challenge as something negative, you can learn to view it as an opportunity for growth. Mindfulness meditation is another tool that helps with rewiring dopamine. Studies show that regular mindfulness practice can help reduce stress and improve dopamine receptor sensitivity, making your brain more responsive to natural rewards. According to a study published in Psychiatry Research, Neuroimaging, people who practice mindfulness have increased dopamine activity in areas of the brain related to motivation and focus. In his book The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle explains how the present moment is where true happiness lies. When we stop chasing future rewards and focus on the now, we begin to reduce the brain's need for constant stimulation. It's not about denying pleasure but learning how to be content with less external input, letting your brain reset to its natural baseline. One simple way to start training your brain is by practicing gratitude. Research from the Greater Good Science Center shows that people who regularly practice gratitude have higher dopamine levels. By taking just 5 minutes each day to write down what you're thankful for, you're telling your brain that life is fulfilling just as it is. Another useful mindset shift is to start embracing delayed gratification as a way to boost motivation and happiness. When you can delay pleasure for a greater reward, you train your brain to build resilience and patience. This is why people who focus on long-term goals, whether it's saving money, learning a new skill, or building a career, tend to feel more fulfilled in the long run. According to the marshmallow test, a classic study by Walter Mischel, kids who were able to wait for a larger reward were more likely to have higher success in life as adults. A shift in mindset can make all the difference. By becoming aware of how your thoughts impact your brain chemistry, you'll be able to make lasting changes that improve your overall well-being. Chapter 6, Movement for the Mind, How Exercise Can Reset Your Dopamine and Transform Your Mood. Exercise is not only good for your body, it's one of the best ways to reset your dopamine levels and boost your mood. Physical activity is a natural dopamine booster, and it doesn't take much to start feeling the effects. A brisk walk, a short jog, or even dancing around your living room can trigger the release of dopamine in a way that feels rewarding but isn't followed by a crash. According to a study published in the Journal of Neuroscience, regular physical activity increases the density of dopamine receptors in the brain, which makes you more sensitive to dopamine. This means that over time, you'll experience a greater sense of satisfaction and motivation from everyday activities. But it's not just about getting any exercise, it's about getting the right kind of exercise. Research suggests that activities involving rhythm or flow, like dancing, yoga, or swimming, are especially effective at boosting dopamine. These activities engage both the body and mind, creating a deeper sense of joy and fulfillment. Dr. John Ratey, in his book Spark, talks about how exercise helps regulate neurotransmitters, including dopamine, to improve mental health. It's also important to note that exercise doesn't need to be intense to be effective. In fact, moderate, consistent activity can be more beneficial than doing sporadic, high-intensity workouts. Studies show that people who engage in moderate exercise regularly have higher dopamine levels and are less prone to depression and anxiety. If you're looking for an easy way to start, walking is a great option. A study by the Mayo Clinic found that just 30 minutes of walking, 5 times a week, is enough to boost dopamine levels and improve overall mood. And you don't have to walk in a gym or on a treadmill. Walking outside in nature can amplify the benefits. The key is consistency. Making movement a regular part of your routine, whether it's through walking, yoga, or even light stretching, will help reset your dopamine system. It's not about punishing your body with long workouts. It's about creating a balanced, enjoyable approach to movement that supports your mental and physical health. By combining movement with the other strategies, you'll find yourself naturally creating a positive feedback loop that keeps dopamine levels balanced, mood elevated, and motivation high. Ready to reset your dopamine for a happier life? Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the latest tips and strategies to change your life for good.